Hi there, I'm Sherry. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy the information that I share with you this morning. Now, one thing that I wanted to share with you guys is something that really, when I first started gardening, when we bought this property back in 2001, was, okay, I have 20 acres that I could grow stuff on. Where do I grow it? How do I grow it? When do I know to grow it? I was at a loss. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. I would put stuff in the ground haphazardly, didn't know if it was for my area, didn't know. I was really green. I had no idea what I was doing. But over the last 20 years, I have learned by trial and error. I have learned by learning where I live. Like, the first thing is to figure out and to go to the USDA maps or go to your local library or your local extension office and find out what zone you live in. After about 5 years, I found out I lived in zone 6B. It took me 6 years to figure that out because my kids were younger and we were busy, and I would just throw stuff in the garden and it would grow. It would get so growed up that I was terrified to walk out there because, I mean, I haven't been bitten personally, but my daughter had been bitten by snakes by just walking by the garden. So I've learned over the years that, number one, know what zone I'm in. Number two, keep your garden clean because all that grass, the snakes just love to hide in it. So I want to share you one of the things that really helped me along my journey of learning how to garden. And I can say that without it, it would take me a lot longer to get to where I'm at right now with growing. Now I have 3 different levels of garden, and I grow, I guess, 5 acres. I think I'm actually under garden at all times except for December, January, February. I have at least, at the minimum in the wintertime, an acre. During the summer times, up to 5 acres in garden, all certified organic through the state of Kentucky. So I have my work cut out for me pretty much year round. So I had to learn, when I needed to do things. So I wanted to share with you my number 1 resource, and that's this book right here. This is the best 20 bucks. I think it was 20 bucks. Yeah, it was a $20 book. It was the best 20 bucks I ever bought. Now mine is for Tennessee and Kentucky. You might want to get try to find this on Amazon for your state. I'll post a link in the comments below to where you can get it for your state, because there's some things that I found out that I could grow here, that I could grow in Louisiana, because that's my home state. I could grow stuff that was in Georgia. I could grow it here, but I had to know how to take care of it. I had to know when to bring it inside. I had to know when I had to have it outside, and I had to know what I needed to do to take care of it because it did not grow in my zone, which is zone 6B. Okay, now that I've shared that with you, make sure you look in the comments below and go to Amazon and find this link. You're helping my family by using our link. We don't get, you won't pay any more by using our link, but you will get a great book from Amazon, and it'll be shipped at the same time. Okay, I want to share with you today, okay, you may have to change this and tweak this a little bit for your area. If you're further up north, there may be a little bit different time that you would do this. But if you're in zone 6B, 6A, 6B, zone 7, you could pretty much use this information that I'm going to give you today and, kind of give you an idea of what you would be doing. Okay, I have my little trusty list from my book. Okay, for annuals, that's a plant that grows once and then it dies back. Okay, now's your time. If you live in 6A, 6B, or zone 7, zone 7 may not work. It may be still too early to plant pansies. Now it's time for us to plant pansies. So as soon as they are available in your local nursery, you want to grab them up and you want to plant them. I know here, I went yesterday to a local nursery that supplies me with pansies because I buy 10 flats every year of pansies, and that just basically covers just my porch. On my back porch, I think I use 1.5 flats back there. My front porch uses the rest of them, and then the rest of them go around, you know, the property. I have some down by the barn. I have some in the front flower beds. I like to have beauty everywhere I go. Okay, now's the time that you get those in the ground. And if you want to save a few of them, you want to, some of your annuals that you have maybe in your garden, especially if you have herbs. Like I have a huge herb garden that I lost, and you know, I may share this in another video, but when I was down there, I cleaned out all the herb beds, and I found thyme, oregano, rosemary, chocolate mint, and of course I have lemon balm growing all the way around my garden. Lemon balm, and I have lemongrass. I had those that, even though it was chaos in that herb garden, I found all those hiding underneath everything and growing well. So I'm going to take some cuttings of some of those, and I'll cut a little bit out of it and bring it in, bring it up to the house. That way I can overwinter some of that. We're going to be working on putting in a greenhouse, and we're going to show you guys how we do that. But any herbs or anything, now is the time. In the zones that are up above me, you probably are doing that at the end of last month instead of this month. And then at the first of the month, you want to separate out your annuals that are going to go into pots to go inside. So you want to get them all potted up. Like if you have, gosh, I don't know, I can't think right off the head what annuals, but anything pretty you have outside that you buy once and then it dies back, if you want to save it, now's when you need to get it in a pot, get it acclimated to that pot, and get it ready to go in, because you don't want to just transplant it into pot and take it in the house. It's going to go into so much culture shock. It's not gonna thrive at all. So I like to take them during this month. I like to take them, put them in a pot, get them settled down a little bit, put them on the porch maybe where the shade is a little more shady, not so much in the sun. If it's a very sun-loving annual, I like to kind of bring it into a shady area, which is my front porch here where I'm at. And then they would get accustomed to the lower light levels, because once you bring it into the house, the lights are even lower. So at the first of the month, you can separate all your annuals out, and then you can do 4-inch cuttings of some of your annuals and dip them in root hormone, and then you can put them in some pots and fill them with damp soil. You want to get a real good quality soil too. You don't want to go and get the cheapest thing you could buy at Walmart or something like that. You want to get a good quality soil, because they're going to overwinter in that. So, and you're going to be growing them, getting them ready for next year. I know I thought about, you know, some of the things that I have planted around the garden, see if I can overwinter some of it and see what, you know, what could happen. The worst thing, it dies, you know, but at least I've tried and I've learned something new. And another thing, if you're in zone 6A and 6B, plant your poppies. Get your beds ready for your poppies. If you have an empty bed that you really, really would love to have poppies. I've always wanted to have poppies here, and this year I'm putting in a bed just nothing but poppies. So I went and I got me some seeds. So I'm going to be planting that probably maybe this week, maybe this weekend. We should have everything pretty much done and ready to put those seeds in the beds. And then those seeds, they're going to germinate, but they're not going to come up till next, I think it's in late spring when they come up. And then now it's a time you want to start looking for seeds that you want to save to dry. Yesterday I cleaned out the garden, the lower garden, all the tomato plants, they're all gone. So I have some tomatoes down there that I purposely left on the ground down there. I'm going to leave some in the soil to come back. I love those equal opportunity seedlings that just sprout back up. You know, come spring next year, they just sprout up. I love those because I can take those and transplant them where I want them to go, and I don't have to overwinter them. But I do have a couple of tomatoes that are the yellow and the orange tomatoes that I want to take for seeds, so I'll have to go pick up those tomatoes and slice those up and get those ready to dry for seed. And then you want to, let's see, going through my list here. I had to write. There's so much to write down. Okay, for your bulbs. Okay, if you live in my same zone, you're 6B, 6A, The bulbs are in the garden centers right now. Buy them, because they will, I'm telling you, they go so fast sometimes I don't even get enough. I buy them by the 10-pound bag because I have so much area that I have to cover, and a lot of times I don't get very many bulbs. You know, you can plant the daffodils, all the lilies, all the daylily bulbs. I think you'll see the gladiola bulbs. They're all coming out in the garden centers. You know, go and look and see what you like, and then grab hold of those bulbs. And then if you want to have a new bed, now's the time to make that bed for those bulbs, because you're pretty soon are going to be getting them in the ground. At least by the end of this month, you're going to want to get your bulbs in the ground for them to come up next year and look beautiful. Okay, for your herb garden and your veggie garden, now is the time. If you live in zone 6A and 6B, now's the time to get your fall garden in. The plants are in the garden centers. They've been out now about a week. I guess about a week and a half. I did have a greenhouse that they do order me broccoli, but I didn't get my broccoli from them this year. I got that organic broccoli that I had found at another greenhouse I went to, and I snatched that up. Now, if you're planting seeds, you should have already started your seeds. I'm late. I didn't plant my seeds yet, but I'm going to get my broccoli seeds in either this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon. And then I've got 45 days, that broccoli rabi that I got from Italy. Those seeds, I'm going to get them in the ground either today or tomorrow. I should have gotten them in the ground this past weekend, but I didn't. I just ran out of daylight time, and I ran out of energy. And this morning I was so tired, I just couldn't go anymore. I had to rest this morning. So I'm going to get that broccoli rabi in the ground. It's 45 days from seed planting to the time that it harvests. So I should be able to get a harvest, because I'm going to put that in the lower garden, and it's going to be sheltered by the barn, and it's going to have a cold frame over the top of it. So I should get at least a good month or so of broccoli off of that, and I'm so excited over that, because that's some of the best broccoli I think I've ever eaten. It's got a spice to it, and it's just, I love broccoli any way I can get it, but with a little spice, naturally spiced, oh, it's so good. So, and if you're, like I was telling you, earlier about my herbs that we found that did survive the overgrowth of the herb beds since I've been sick, that I'm going to take and I'm going to slice a little bit off of that, and I'm going to pot that in a little small 4 or 5 inch pot and get it ready to kind of overwinter. I'll either put it up here on the porch, and I'll bring it out in the daytime. I'll bring it out and sit it. If it's a sunny day, I'll sit it over on the wheelchair ramp ledge, let it get some sun, and make sure that it's not windy so it doesn't kill it. And then I'll bring it in if it's chilly. So now's the time, if you want to harvest your herbs, now's the time to do it. Make sure that when you harvest your herbs, that the dew is dried off of them. You don't want the sun beating down on them, but you want them to be dry. You want to clip what you need, and then you need to either hang it and put a paper bag over it and hang it. I hang it up here on my roof under my porch. I'll hang them for about 2 weeks, and usually they all fall down in the bag and they're pretty much dry. You can dry them in a dehydrator. I have an Excalibur. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I will dry them in the Excalibur. I was really lucky, because everything that I had that survived through the last couple of years of not being taken care of were all the spices that I usually use for Italian seasoning. So I'm going to dry up a bunch for Italian seasoning, and I should have plenty going into the winter. Okay, for your house plants, what do you do with them? All my house plants are out here. Excuse me. All my house plants are out loving the beauty. They're just all over this porch. I have them sitting on the coffee table. And see if I can kind of pan you around and see. You'll see the mess too. But you see all my plants, they're all sitting here on, and if you swivel on around, you see them over here. They're kind of out here, and they're just enjoying, being out here. It's right now, it's about 75 right now, so it's beautiful. They're loving it. but they're going to have to be ready to come inside pretty soon, because come October we're going to have our first frost sometime in October. So now I usually start at the first post over here by the wheelchair ramp, and I'll start working my way around the porch, and then I start cleaning all the all the little pots out. If something, you know, needs to be cut off, I'll cut it off, and then I'll bring in, or if I don't want to carry the whole, if it just went crazy and it grew so much, I'll cut what I want to bring in for the winter. I'll cut and then I'll plant that. So now's the time to do that. It's just to clean up all your house plants and get them ready for within the next month or so to get ready to come back in the house, and make sure that you check where you put them in the house. I know this year we put in, you know, we built the tile, so we put in the cheapest windows we could find. So we went back this past summer and we've changed all of our windows out. So they have this lowy glass, they don't let in as much light. I didn't like them, but you know, we had to look at what was best for our comfort, you know. So you might have to tweak where you put them, you know, if you've done changes to your house. My favorite thing that I'm doing this year, I always go to the store. Lowe's always has their sale on their poinsettias right, I think it's right after I think it's right at the 1st of November or the last of October, and they'll put them on sale for $2.50. Well, $2.50. I usually buy like 15 or 20 of them, and I sit them all over everywhere. I let them grow. Well, this year I had one. I'm gonna go grab it right quick for you and show you this. You won't believe it, because I don't either. Look how pretty my poinsettia is. It is just amazing. Look at that. It was I think I paid $4 for this last December, and it actually overwintered in the house, and it actually is that big. So what I'm gonna do with my poinsettias, and this is what they have to have, and I have to start right now. I'm gonna repot this into a pretty pot. I got a really pretty pot that I'm gonna put it in. It's going to be a big pot. My husband's going to complain because it's going to be kind of heavy to lug around. Okay, the 3rd week of September, this is what you do for your poinsettias. The 3rd week of September, you want to start covering it at 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And you want to remove the cover at 7 a.m. the next morning. And then that way it gets I have p.m. down here. I'll have to check that. But it has to get 14 hours of darkness and 10 hours of light, of daylight. So this baby is gonna, this is my experiment. I'm gonna do a video on repotting this and covering it, and we're gonna see what it's gonna look like, because I'm gonna see if I can get the red leaves back, and this is supposed to give me my red leaves back. So I'm all excited on trying that. Okay, your Christmas and your Thanksgiving cactuses, 2 to 3 days longer before watering. That means slow down your watering on them. And I've already started slowing down my watering on them, getting them ready to come back in the house, because when you slow down the watering, then that's when they bloom. So, and then all the perennials that you have in your yard, you need to start deadheading them, which means cut or take off the tops, and then that way they'll put more production into the roots and the base. And then your trees, now's the time to find dogwood seeds. I went around, I think I have 6 or 8 dogwoods, and I went around, and Monday, after Johnny and I had worked in the garden, we went around and we collected dogwood seeds, and I put it in our seed box that's going around the country. More about that later. But some people are going to get some dogwood seeds, but with those, there's a whole planting on the way to plant those. But now's the time to gather your dogwood seeds, your 4 o'clock seeds. What else did we gather? Daylily seeds. Dahlia seeds are ready to be gathered. And we gathered regular lily seeds. Okay, that's moving on. Okay, let's see. I think that's it. I got it all. The trees were the last one. but that's kind of what, you know, that I kind of go. I have a gardener's journal. A lot of times everything's just in a notebook like this, but I found that I lost it. I would always lose these notebooks. So I started writing the year on the outside of these. This is a little handy thing for the garden. So, and then like I have upper garden, lower garden, middle garden, and it kind of, you know, kind of write it down what is in what place. And if you're like me, I know my husband plants things and he forgets he's got it. We've got so much here, we forget where it's at. So it's very important to have a drawing, even if it's on a sheet of paper, or if it's just written down like I do. Like I have my upper garden, I have radishes, broccoli, beets, and then, you know, I put over here on the side what I need to do up there, you know, and the barrels, you know, I have what I'm going to have in the barrels, my lower garden, what's down there. Have a list of what's in your garden, or draw out a picture of your house or a little square for your house and what you have planted around your house to remember where everything is, so that you can take care of it and you can do whatever maintenance that needs to be done on it. Well, this video is really long, but I wanted to share with you what is the best things for you to do if you're in zone 6B and 6A in September. These are some of the things that I have on my list to do around my farm and around my gardens for September, to get my things ready for the fall of the year coming and for the winter that's coming. So I hope I've helped you learn on what you need to do for September if you live in zone 6. And some of 7, it's kind of the same thing from what I've read, because the reason why I know is because it's Tennessee and Kentucky. That's how I know. I wouldn't have a clue what zone 7 did, but we are kind of the same a lot. So I hope I've helped you. I know this book has really helped me. Find and buy this book. It's well worth it, especially if you're a newbie or you're just starting out gardening. This is a lifesaver on your flowers and you too, because then you kind of know what to do. And it's broken down by month. See, you can see, I'll open it out. See, it's broken down by month, and then it gives you what to do for each thing. It's broken down just completely. It's houseplants, herbs, vegetables, bulbs, everything, what I just covered. It's a great book. It is the best book I've ever bought. Well, I hope you enjoyed my talk this morning, and please click the subscribe button and click the little bell icon. It'll tell you when I'm on live, or I don't do very many lives, but it'll tell you when I've posted a new video. And then leave something in the comments below on something that you do for September, and then I could see if I can do it too. I'm pretty sure that I can, because I got so much property and so much flowers. I'm sure I'll learn something. But thank you for joining me, and come back again sometime. Bye-bye.